ladies. Welcome back to another episode of the First Generation Millionaires podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr, and I'm joined today by another incredible, very special guest, actually, to me. Athena Dobson. She is the founder of Girls in Property. She is a podcast host, but more importantly for me, the main overarch of everything she does is she is a community builder. He was a fierce champion for women in business, and I'm so excited to bring her on and have one of those incredible chats with her today. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's so odd, and I'm sure that you all have this as well. Like when you are the guest on a podcast as opposed to being the host, it's a really interesting dynamic because we're used to hosting all the time. So today I'm looking forward to being the guest and hopefully giving the listeners loads of value today and loads of things that they can action and take away.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. And we were just saying off camera a moment ago that I was really excited about this episode also because what I love about you is you are just such an integrity of abundance. And I know that you will be really generous and giving in your time and in your wisdom. So, and also I want to take a moment to celebrate you. So obviously, Athena and I have worked together. She's been in my community and she has just absolutely like the evolution has been insane to watch. And I, again, am so excited. And so, like, we often talk about things and I'm like, I just love that for you. This is so exciting. But what you have created is something truly like incredible. Like I'm literally like blinking furiously because I don't think that you genuinely understand. You've created a community that has exceeded just exceeded the 100 member milestone. That is rare these days to get that incredible success and just truly testament to the ethos and the values and the container that you have created. So I just wanted to take a moment officially, formally, online to celebrate you for that because I don't think because you're not a coach necessarily, like you obviously have evolved into that space and just naturally a nurturer of your community, but because you don't come from the coaching industry, you don't realize really, I don't think fully what you have created. So I just wanted to take a moment to celebrate you for that.
Oh, do you know what? Thank you so much for doing that because I talk about this actually on one of my podcasts, and I don't know if you can relate to this or the listeners can, but that means so much to me, Bex. Like it really does because I feel like we don't take enough time to actually celebrate ourselves. I like to think me and you are the biggest supporters and the biggest champions of others. And you know that I will always be in your corner being like, oh my God, you're amazing. You did this. But then when we're honest and we sit quietly with ourselves, we don't necessarily take the time to really celebrate what we've done or really understand that. So that really made me smile, the fact that you've just celebrated that. So I want to say thank you to you.
Oh, bless you. And thank you to your community because
Yeah.
obviously, like I say, you have created something so special and that is testament to you.
I have always said from day one, I've always said the community is literally about the girls. Like the girls are the community. I always say we are girls in property because without them, the community is nothing. And how the community came about is it's only been running for a year. And when we're talking about these members, these 100 members, these are active community members. These are members that literally are in a platform that communicate every day. We do meetups, we do in-person meetups. I recently hosted my workshops. I've got a summer beach party coming up that we're all going to come together for. So, because I'm down in
Summer
Bournemouth.
beach party? Hang on, you glossed over that. I need to know.
Well, I'm down in Bournemouth. I have to have a beach party. Come on.
And I love that as well because you create truly innovative. So one of the things, super side note, one of the reasons why a few years ago I was actually contemplating leaving the coaching space because I was so bored by it. I think when you've been a business owner, and the same for you, obviously you are like a property investor, developer. When you have that brick and mortar real world experience, and then you come into almost like an artificial ecosystem, which is the online marketing bubble. One thing that really struck me was just this lack of innovation and creativity and women that were interesting because what they were doing instead was following everybody else's mold of what success looks like and what your launch process needs to look like, what your offers needed to look like, what your prices needed to look like. And I was like, I've always played by my own rules, never done things like anybody else. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to do this. This is boring. But genuinely, you do just kind of move from intuition. You identify an opportunity. You give yourself permission to move very quickly and lean into the collective, and you build everything in collaboration, which I think is so exciting.
Oh, it's all about that, honestly, because at the end of the day, as people, we can't know everything. But what I do know is I know that what my skill sets are, and I know what other people's skill sets are. And also for me, I like to think, I mean, I can get this wrong from time to time, but I like to think I'm a really good judge of character. Sometimes I've got that wrong, but usually I get it kind of nailed spot on. And so I like to work with people that I like. And if they then have a skill set that I think would then benefit my community, I'm like, oh, we need to collaborate because you can offer so much and this will benefit you, this will benefit the girls, this is what it's all about. And so collaboration over competition, always.
Absolutely. And that for me is a quality that really embodies abundance. It's not just lip service, it is a true abundance mindset that there is success for everyone and that in you creating opportunities for other people, that doesn't take away from your own. So where do you believe that that comes from? Like obviously the podcast is about money, but I was just saying to you, it's more about the founders that are going first, that
Yeah.
are navigating nuances and challenges and mindset shifts that you wouldn't necessarily have to if you unless you were an entrepreneur.
Yeah, definitely. There is so much I want to say about this. So the first thing I was just going to say, literally before you said, so how did this start? Is the first thing I want to say is it's very easy to talk about this now, but this was not this way like even a year ago, to be honest with you. Let's be really real on this podcast. Whenever you are starting out in a business, you have all of the fear and lack of income, lack of money, lack of direction. And so you go into the scarcity mindset when you first start a business. You think to yourself, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. Is this going to work? I cannot fail. People think I'm going to fail and I can't prove them right. All of these things come into your head. And I was there 100%. I had exactly the same feelings. And what happens is you end up chasing. And I did this. I chased and I chased. And I was probably a different person when I started my business to the person that I am today. And I'll talk to you about the fact that by joining Rebecca's mastermind program was a massive revolution for that as well. And Rebecca, I want to celebrate you in a second. But before I do that, like, it's so important to realize that the best advice I gave to somebody the other day is one thing that I wish somebody had told me when I first started was define success on what you think success looks like to you, not on what someone else's success looks like. So, for example, I used to think when I started my business, I thought the very first thing I had to achieve in order to be successful was to be a six-figure business owner. I thought as soon as I become a six-figure business owner, I will be successful. What a load of BS. Absolute BS. Because what happens is you end up chasing that and you chase it and you chase it, but you lose yourself along the way, you lose relationships along the way, you have burnout, you don't become happy, and then you think, why am I doing this in the first place? It's to do it to have a better relationship, to have a family one day. Well, guess what? By chasing the six-figure business that you want to have, you're about to lose the relationship that actually means more to you than any amount of money, but you've completely lost yourself along the way. And I think that that's such an
It really
important.
gave me chills because it's so bloody true. This
It's so
10K
true.
month
Yeah.
really like just was such a sticking point for so many women. And I would ask them like, but why? Why
Why?
is it 10K? Why is it not 5K? Why is it not 20? Why is it not a million? And they really couldn't say. It's like,
Yeah.
well, that's what everybody wants, isn't it? Because then I'll be free, then I'll be successful, then I'll be happy. And it's like, actually, no, because chances are you're going to have more expenses, more responsibility, more energy to hold. Are you ready for that? And they
Yeah.
weren't. So, yeah, I
I
love that you mentioned that.
honestly, it's the one thing I wish somebody would have told me. I really do. And if I just go back to sort of the reason why I think I was the way I was when I started my business, just to give a bit of context, is because so I had a full time job. I was a premium travel consultant for 7 years. That was my job. If you want to talk to me about travel, I would talk to you about travel all day long. But then, of course, back in 2022 in March, COVID hit. And so this job that they tell you to get, you go to school, you go to university, you get a job because a job is secure, was no longer secure. That isn't what happened. And I learned in that moment when I was furloughed that, oh my God, the world literally has shut down. My job has gone. Like, how am I going to make money? I've got this one source,
Identity, isn't it, as well
my
for so many people?
identity. Yeah, I was Athena, the travel consultant, absolutely my identity. And I was only relying on one source of income as well. Hence how I found property. And I sort of realized that I became unemployable almost because I didn't believe in the system anymore. I'd seen the system fall apart and I thought nothing is secure in life unless you secure it for yourself. And that is literally what I went on to do. But if I just go back to childhood before I go on to there, I think because I came from a broken family basically when I was younger. My mum was a single mum. It was me, my mum, and my brother. There was just the three of us, which is so common these days. I think that naturally, without us realizing it, and I'd love to do a deeper psychology on this. You know, I love psychology, Rebecca. I'm really into it. But I would love to understand the fact that I believe, without knowing it, I adopted a masculine energy because I adopted naturally this notion that I had to protect my mum and I had to make sure that my mum was safe because, you know, my mum was raising me, but at the same time, at a young age, I was 8 years old taking myself to school on the 2:40 bus from Mill Hill. That was a 45-minute journey at 8 years old
Oh my God,
because,
I've got chills. Did you
yeah,
live
because
in London? Did I forget that?
yeah, I was in London. So I used to live in Hendon. So my school was in Mill Hill. So I had to get the
Oh
2:40
my
bus.
word.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a London girl. So I got the 2:40 bus. It cost me 40p every single day. I'll never forget it. My 220p's, and I took myself to school. And I think, you know, I was bullied at school. I was different. My name's Athena. I had really frizzy hair. I had weird teeth. Like, you know, I was one of those bullied kids. And so I sort of went within myself and said, well, I've got to protect myself. I've got to have this masculine energy. I have to adopt this notion that people can't get to me. People can't hurt me. You know, and almost like you reject them because before they can reject you because you've grown up having been
Felt
rejected when you're
rejected.
young. Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
that's definitely wounded masculine energy, 100%, where you, and equally, you are so used to giving out to everybody else. That's the role of the masculine, is to keep um, people, like, you know, provide that structure. We love structure. So you can run your business initially in that very controlling way where you don't have any trust. You're just trying to like chase, like you said, give out to everybody else. And instead of allowing yourself to lean back, receive, have the ebbs and flows, you are just like go, 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 go all the time. That's very much wounded masculine energy. I can totally see how that would have happened.
I think, Rebecca, I think when I found you, so when I found you and the mastermind, which was amazing, was when I basically was going through my business. So I became a property investor. I've invested in property. I won't go into too much detail about that now, but effectively I went through my buy to let portfolio, and then I went and I adopted something called rent to rent, where you don't purchase the properties, you control the assets, and you can build a business through that. And then I went on to seek private investing, and then I went on to obviously build my portfolio now. So that's kind of the property side of things. But I always say to people within that, you are a business owner,
Yeah,
and you have to be a business owner first. And so again, I was in this male dominated industry, and I'll never forget, and it was a really interesting one, how I ended up doing it. You know, this girl that has this masculine energy walked into this room of 40. It was my first networking event I ever went to, and I walked into a room and there was 45 people in a room, and I could not believe what I saw. This was about 3 years ago. There was only 3 women in the room compared to 45 in total.
yeah.
So 42 men, 3 women. And literally, I remember clinging on to this other girl for dear life called Claire, bless Claire, wherever she is in the world,
Does she
because
know the legacy that she's created, the ripple effect?
I have no idea. We started this whole thing on my Instagram going hashtag find Claire, but Claire has not come forward. So Claire, if you're out there, I'm still waiting for you. Um, but yeah, Claire started it because I then went home, and don't get me wrong, I didn't go home and think I need to change the world. I went home and thought, isn't that a shame?
Yeah,
And in thinking, isn't that a shame? You then have this moment of clarity that comes to you over a period of time. And how it all started was a podcast, because podcasting is such a fantastic way to get your voice out there. And I was seeking a podcast from others to think I want to learn from other women in this industry because I don't like being around this masculine energy, which was really interesting when you think about my upbringing. And so we started the Girls in Property podcast, where we just spoke about our stories. We spoke about our voices,
yeah.
and it's there. It was launched on January 15th, 2023. It's now had over 120 episodes. You've been a guest on it, Bex, you know, and it's just received nearly 50,000 downloads. Like, it's an amazing podcast for
That is
business and
great.
property podcasting, and I release it every single Monday at 7 a.m. with a new guest. I love it.
I absolutely love that because, like you say, it's just coming from that place of genuine service, wanting to create a voice and amplify those voices of the women that perhaps don't necessarily have a voice or the confidence or a platform in order to do that. And I would say again that is very much providing that structure and that safe space that is actually very masculine energy, but more, it's probably invokes the nurturer in you, who is like, I see an injustice here. I have the energy and the desire and the commitment and the motivation. I'm going to change this. And that is so powerful, because I ultimately believe genuinely, and this is like no big deal, but I no kind of, BS, but I do believe that it is us entrepreneurs, us female led entrepreneurs, that are going to make the world a better place, because we are naturally solution seekers by nature. And we can see where the injustices are and where the gaps are, and we want to come in and fix that. And I'm just so glad that you've been able to do that, because I've been around your communities, and it is a really beautiful thing to witness, because they are so loyal. They are so like grateful for this space that you've created, because I think they intuitively knew, like, this is not it. Like, the property space is a interesting one, isn't it? I've worked with a lot of property coaches over the years, helping them to almost like, add revenue streams and find a more relaxed pace of life through coaching and mentorship with their clients, because it is so full on, it is so masculine, and the people that are dominating and running that industry right now are just, in my opinion, not good. Everything that's wrong with the patriarchy, everything that's wrong with just, the world, in the sense, not, they're good people, I'm sure, but just doing it in a way that is just not sustainable for anybody.
Yeah, I think, do you know what? I think with property, I think you get a really mixed bag, if I'm honest with you. I think you kind of have people that have been in it for such a long period of time, and then you kind of have the newcomers as well. But funny you should say that. Something that really stood out for me, and everyone's very different, but I recently went to a property summit literally at the weekend, and the first guy that came on stage, the first thing he did, like no joke, was he showed a picture of his Rolls Royce and his mansion. And he literally said, if you work hard enough and you listen to me for the next 30 minutes, you can achieve this as well.
Oh, woo.
And I literally sat in my seat. I was right at the back. I love sitting at the back of every room, because then you just get to see everybody. And I was sat at the back of the room, and I just thought, my God, like, is that how you want to start your presentation, really?
And
And
what
all
makes
the
you think other people want?
Well, maybe they do. Maybe they do. Property, everyone in property is very different. Like, I was able to take my girls in property to this summit, because what's important for me, and the reason that we took a group of us to the summit, was because for a lot of them, they hadn't really been networking before. They were quite shy, they were quite timid, and they were like, oh, I don't know about going on my own. There were 400 people at this event, right? And I said, why don't we get a girls in property group to go together, so that if you want to go off, you can do that, but you want to have like a safe space to come back to. Amazing. We were about 12. We all went, and literally had this whole line. It was fantastic. Sat in this auditorium, and as soon as he said this, all the girls just looked at me to see my reaction, and I just sat very quietly. I was like, okay.
I mean, I might as well have shown you a D pic. Like,
Yeah, I know. I know.
I'm overcompensating for something.
I
If
know.
that's how you need to open a show to get presence and credibility, then there's something there that is
I know.
really important.
But do you know what? Like, Bex will know this. We'll know this as well, right? As you go through the industry and you go through business, and you will have experienced this as well, it's important to say that you will find your people. This is the thing. You will find the people that are good, and the people who just have different values to you. And sometimes those can be women as well. Like, particularly in the industry that I'm in, this whole notion about women supporting women, I've personally come up against some issues recently where women just haven't liked the fact that I'm doing what I'm doing, because they kind of want to dominate the space. They've been in it longer than me. I can't argue with that. And so they're thinking, who's this girl that's only been in it for 3, 4 years? Who does she think she is? Trying to build this community of women. She has no right to be here. Like, I've had that. I've experienced it. And it's really, really tough. Really tough, because you've got to look within you to try and think, am I good enough? It's a tough thing to do.
Absolutely are good enough, 100%. And I think this is how we change things, though, because I actually had a similar experience a little while ago. Well, I mean, I've had that all the way throughout the coaching, my coaching journey over the last 7 years, because sadly, as women, we are pitted against each other. There are so many barriers to us being entrepreneurs and really fully creating success on our own on our own terms, whether that's judgment, ancestral wounds, societal expectations. Like, we have to go through so much to finally get to this place where we are that embodiment of abundance. And if you are a woman who is unhealed and triggered by other people's success and feeling therefore in lack, you are going to create, like, act from that place. And it's so sad, and it's one of the things that made me want to come out of this space, because I know that it has a bad reputation and that it's been marketed as a get rich quick scheme, and people are just kind of coming in with no good intentions. And I thought, I don't want to be part of that. But actually, I've realized that we get to change the narrative. We get to reclaim the space as, like you've done, a safe space for women where they don't have to act like that. They actually get to witness what true feminine leadership looks like, where you are sitting and still attending those events, but just offering a different view, and keeping it classy and staying in integrity with who that you are, so that you don't allow those external factors to change you. That will be creating such a ripple effect that you aren't even aware of. And that to me is how you overcome those situations, is staying true to yourself and just being the change that you want to see. Eventually there is going to be a shift in things,
Yeah,
100% in the collective.
and you have to trust that. And one thing you just said there that I really picked up on, because this is actually what people describe me as, which I'm very proud of. They always say, Athena, like, you are classy, like, stay classy. The saying, we go high when others go low. Always, like, remember who you are. And I think what I really would love to say also in this moment, Bex, is just about you and the mastermind as well, because I think what was a real shift for me in the way that I see things and the way that I am is actually when I went to LA with the mastermind group. Like, that was a massive deal for me. So that was last September. I actually celebrated my 33rd birthday, literally with all of you around me, which was such a special moment. And I think, you'll agree with me when I say this. So majority of the girls who were in this group are in some way, shape or form, just because of the way that things are quite spiritual, for example. And for me, I am the least spiritual person, like, ever. It's never been in my remit. It's never been my thing. And certainly if you found me, like, I'd say 2 years ago, I'd be like, no, definitely not. Oh my goodness, like, how wrong could I be? Like, I wouldn't say that I'm woo woo or spiritual, but I'm definitely woo. There is, like, an element of me.
You're open.
I'm open, great word. I'm open. And what I loved about that was, I remember that you were doing a hot seat coaching, and I was telling you about ideas that I wanted to do for girls in property. And I said to you, right, this is my baby. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it. And I remember you sitting in your chair, pregnant as hell at the time. And you were like, no, that is a bad idea. And I was like, no. And I was like, no, it's not. It's a great idea. This is why it's a great idea. And you were like, listen to me. I'm telling you, it's a bad idea. Like, this is why it's a bad idea. This is why it won't work. And I almost feel like we had this moment of, like, coming up against each other, but both coming with good intention and love for the other
And
person
utmost respect.
and
Like,
utmost respect.
100%. I was like, I absolutely can see how you, and again, like, there's no such thing as bad ideas in business. But as a gentle observer and somebody who is not emotionally attached to it, I think there's a better way.
But I just want to say, you were 100% right. You were right.
You know that this is making the grid now.
Yeah, no, but you were right. No, but you were.
Soundbite.
You were
Yes, it does.
genuinely right. I didn't end up doing the idea that I was going to do, because on reflection, when you were saying to me you're going to lose control, the reason that people come is because of you and all these things, like, everything you said, although I pushed back, I think in the moment it was my masculine energy kind of pushing back, going, I know best. This is my business. This is my dream. I'm going to do it my way. That's masculine energy. But actually, when I went away and thought about it, and I took your advice, I was like, actually, there is a better way to do this. And I'm so grateful to you that you actually took the more difficult approach, which was not just agreeing with me because it made your life easier. You
No,
actually
because I
disagreed
care.
with me.
I can see the potential of what you were creating and your brand and your heart and the mission behind it. And it's like, you don't need to do any of those things that other, like, monetizing quickly and, all of these kind of lowball tactics for people that are kind of get in, get out, get my money. that isn't you. Like, you are here, and I believe, even though you're not woo woo, this is like a soul connection. If I looked at your human design chart, I absolutely have no doubt that all of your innate, unique natural gifts and talents have brought you to this moment, and you were always meant to be this person. So I don't want you to rush it. I don't want you to, like, say, lowball it. I mean, even from a strategic masculine side, you don't need to burn through your audience or any of those things. And I could just see there is so much better, like so much better, so much bigger, so much more impact that you can create if you just go a little bit slower, if you just think a little bit more, if you just do this. And that's the thing for me as a mentor. It isn't just like, I'm all in, I'm invested, I've seen the vision, because I'm an intuitive business coach, and I'm not going to let you settle for anything less than that, because I want you to achieve that greatness, because everybody else wins. And I fully believe that, and that is what you've ultimately created with your community now. Not only are you changing women in the moments and changing hearts and minds, and the narrative for what it gets to be a woman in property, but also, like, the ripple effect of that is going to be absolutely huge, because I guarantee they parent different. They're different partners. You're probably a different partner with your partner now, because you're softening, you're allowing yourself to receive. I'm making massive assumptions there, by the way.
No,
But I
no,
know
you're
for
right.
our wounded masculine, it can almost be emasculating for our partners, because we're so used to doing everything ourselves and being
Completely.
self-sufficient and not needing a man. And we all came up in this generation, hashtag boss babe and Spice Girls, where we don't need anybody, we can do it all ourselves, and we wore it with a badge of honor. So the more that you soften, the more that you allow yourself to receive, the more that you take things slowly, that's going to change everything in your life.
100%. Just two things I want to pick up on just on what you said. So the first one is my beautiful, beautiful friend Emma Finn, who I know is in your community and going to be speaking at your event. She is the most gorgeous human being ever. She did my human design for me. So
Oh,
we
what?
went and we had lunch. So I'm a generator.
Yes.
And guess what she said to me before she started our session for it? She's like, Athena, you are living your soul's purpose. She's like, you are your human design. She says, through and through, you are your human design. So my human design is all about connection of people, a facilitator, heart led, all of these things. I'll have to send it to you. It's the most beautiful thing. And I thought, oh wow, like, okay, I am where I'm meant to be. And Emma's like, Athena, I've never seen him. Like, this is purely aligned, this human design. And what's really weird is I think that if I'd had said this to me, like, if I'm honest with you, like, if I'd have said this to me 4 years ago, and the person I was 4 years ago that was very business orientated and needing the money and needing to succeed and needing to prove everybody wrong that I can be great, why did you reject me? You shouldn't have rejected me. I think that if I'd have seen me today, I'd have gone, I don't recognize her. Like, that isn't the person that I thought I would become. I thought that I'd be. It's a really interesting one. I just thought that I would be.
No, but
Yeah,
it means that you've healed yourself by giving yourself permission to step into this softer version of you, who is still successful, and actually, I would argue, even more successful, because you're creating it on your own terms, and you have such admiration and respect from the communities that you're building. To see that version of you and to know that it essentially all works out, it's like you've healed the wounded child that had to be operating from a masculine energy, that had to be giving out to everybody else, that had to wear this, like, armor and this, this face or identity that she had to wear when she was out, that everything's okay, don't worry about me, I'm good, like, da 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 da. It's almost like you're reparenting your inner child, actually, that there gets to be a different way, and a different version of success, and that's okay. That's
definitely.
what
I think.
happens when you do the work.
Yeah, I'm definitely still doing the work. I definitely don't think I'm all the way there yet. I'm actually really excited about doing a lot more inner work. And I said to somebody the other day, and this is the other thing I wanted to say to you, was I think also if you'd have asked me even a year ago, honestly, like just a year ago, if I was ready to do work on, like, the inner child and to go into this, I'd have said no. I'd have said I'm not ready to open that case. I'm not ready to do any of that. I think it's only been in the last couple of months, if I'm honest with you, where I think I'm now ready to be in a position where I am ready to kind of do that. And I tell you why. And I said this to somebody, I think the reason I'm ready to do it now is I genuinely don't believe that I can move into the next level of my business without doing this.
Yeah.
I think that I'm what's holding me back in my business right now. And I think it's not my fault. I think I need to almost like shed quite a lot of things now that need to be shed from my previous life that although got me to where I am, I'm very grateful for that person, I'm very grateful for what I went through, need to be shed so that I lose the baggage going into my next level. And I think as soon as I do the inner work, and this is me talking like a non-spiritual person talking about inner work, like I genuinely think I will go to the next level because I will allow myself to go to the next level.
Yeah.
And one of the words that was used to me, which was such a powerful word, and I'll never forget it when this person said it to me, they were like, Athena, you need to learn to surrender.
Yes. Oh my God.
And
Yes.
yeah, and I am the least surrendering person you will ever meet. I'm that girl that if I'm running like a marathon and I think I'm about to die, I will never give up, never. If let's face it, if I'm in a bit of an argument with my partner, I am not the person that backs down. I'm the person that goes for it.
But it's a
And
proving energy, though. You need to
yeah, I
surrender in
know.
that moment.
Yeah, and she said to me, she's like, the best thing you can learn to do that will take it to the next level is surrender. And I thought that was so
It's
powerful.
peace. You deserve peace. That to me is what success looks like, also. And I totally resonate with that because that was my journey. And I think when you have been such a fighter, your nervous system literally cannot cope with ease and any and peace, because it's just so foreign to us. My nan actually got me a pillow that said, that saying about accept the things that you cannot change and the wisdom to know the difference.
I love that.
That's how much I was in that energy my whole life, and injustice as well. I was always that kid that was like, but why is it that way? But why? So I totally resonate with that 100%. And I also think it's no coincidence that you've had some things come up for you recently where, the childhood version of you, that would have been your absolute worst nightmare. To think that there were, peers out there who not only didn't like you and didn't see your heart or your intention behind what you were trying to create, but also tried to rally support behind that. There is no coincidence between that happening now, you overcoming it and finding peace with that situation, and then you ultimately going to your next level, because you're going to face that more and more. Your success will absolutely trigger somebody else's insecurities and their lack, and their survival, essentially. So it's going to happen. And if you don't have the resilience, it's not even the resilience and fortitude, because I don't believe in just like sucking it up and overcoming it and breaking through and pushing through. That is wounded masculine energy. It's actually about having compassion and just seeing, and that's part of the healing journey, isn't it? Even all the things that happen when you were younger, when you can have compassion and and almost love and gratitude for those moments and those people, and that's when you can truly reclaim your power out of those situations, I think, when you're not
Yeah.
seeking validation for your trauma.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's all about as well. And I think that I'm still on my journey, and I think I'll be on my journey for like the rest of my life. I don't think we ever really get there, to be honest with you. But I think that what's happened recently to me, I think, is I believe that everything happens, in life for a reason. And I think that if I'm honest with you, like being really raw here, it knocked me more than I thought it would knock me, and it knocked me for six. And I think therefore that made me realize that I wasn't internally as strong or as comfortable or as assured as myself as maybe I thought I was or what I appear to be.
Yeah.
And that actually made me rethink to myself, what work do I have to do within me so that if this ever happens again, and it will happen again because life is the way that it is, I need to be stronger next time. I need to be more resilient, not in a masculine way, but in a way that I'm so sure of my purpose, I'm so sure of who I am as a person, that it can't knock me. And I think that's the work that needs to be done to go forward. And that comes with time. That's not something that just happens to you. That just comes with age and time, and that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also learning to love yourself fully, wholly, and completely, so that nobody can highlight any gaps within yourself. That's when we're typically triggered by somebody else. There's some part of us that not necessarily believes what they're saying, but doesn't feel, is still kind of open to needing that validation or those accolades or acceptance from others. I think when you really do become excuse my French, unfuckable with, is when you genuinely are so solid in yourself that nobody can tell you anything. You don't need anything from anybody else. And maybe again, this is a bit wounded masculine, but you're so whole that anything else is extra. I truly believe those people won't even come in your energy. This won't be like a rite of passage that you need to overcome again and again and again. I actually just think those things won't happen to you anymore, because it's like you elevate your frequency so much so that these people won't even be in your energy. They won't get in your inbox. They won't, and equally, as you scale, they won't be able to get to you anyway, literally, because you'll have teams in place that protect your peace and energy from that. So I would not worry about that this is going to keep coming up for you. I think you fully like overcome it in the sense. But I would love to know, is there like a moment or a shift or a something that has happened that, even with the membership, that is an incredible amount of success. Like you say, a year ago, I think it barely existed, or it was very much in the beginning stages, and now you've exceeded 100 people. Was there a moment that was like, right, let's go, like a moment of clarity, a moment of conviction? Because it's a risk, isn't it? It's taken you away from your other property investments, all for that kind of love and passion. That's all great, but it's still, there's a shift that needs to happen to give yourself permission to do that when you're having to drop other balls. Like, is there a moment, do you remember, that was like, let's go, I'm going all in, I'm not just going to be, because I remember you saying to me the goal of 100, and I was like, almost trying to manage your expectations, and I'm so sorry for that, because I look back now and I was like, I should have just shut the fuck up, because I stepped out your way. So I was like, well, I mean, 20 would be amazing, 50 would be great. And you're like, no, it's 100. And I'm like, okay, I'm here for you. So was there a moment, do you remember?
Yeah, so two. One's previous, one's present. So the first one was when we originally started the podcast, it was just a concept. It was just a podcast. And actually, when we started the podcast, there were three of us. So it was me, my friend Sophie, and Julia, and we all did it together, which worked really well. And we hosted a retreat for 50 women. We had no business bank account set up. We literally just were like, right, who's in property, who wants to come to this event? We literally like paid for it out of our own pockets. We made zero money on it. We literally, were using each other's bank accounts to kind of work out how we were going to do this. And we brought these women together, and it was a really fantastic day. We had 53 women, and it was great. And I still have that photo to this day. And that girl that sits on the steps, me, literally, I look at her and I'm like, wow, girl, you have no idea what's about to come. And then what happened was life takes over, and there were three of us. And when there's three women within a concept, it's quite difficult, because you all have different ideas, you have different visions about what you think you need to invest in order to make this grow. And I remember Sophie and Julia both saying, we're gonna step back from this. It's a lot of work. There's no money in it. We've got a lot going on. Sophie had two young children at the time. Julia went off to travel the world. And I said to myself, I know that there is something in this. I know that this is needed in the industry. I know that this can become something. And so I sort of spoke to myself and I said, no, I know I want to do this. And they said, go fly with it. Like, go fly, go be you. And so I incorporated it in October 2023, I think it was 2023, October, which was like literally 2 years ago. I incorporated it. It became Girls in Property. I became director and CEO. And I made it what it is today. So first of all, that was the one moment that I knew. And by the way, I then had to invest money into it. Like, it didn't then just go, oh, now it's taken off. No, I had to put my trust and my hard-earned money, that I had to take it from property and go, okay, I'm going to go and build out this podcast. I'm going to go and build out these events. I'm going to go and build out this community. You have to believe in yourself when you do that. It could have flopped. Like, putting that money in could have been like the biggest mistake that I ever did, but I believed in the mission behind it. I believed in the purpose of it. I believed that I was the right person to lead it as well, because I knew of what I wanted to achieve with it. So that was the first step. And then, if I'm honest with you, right now, Bex, is the second one. Like, literally now is the second one. So by having the 100 members in the community, by having the messages that I receive from people every single day to tell me how a certain podcast has literally changed their life, or the way that they see themselves. Like, for example, I did a limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome podcast. Girls, even if you're not in property, please go and listen to the limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome podcast. I did it with a person called Akhtar Khan, and he psychoanalyzed me on the podcast.
Oh.
Like, he psychoanalyzed me. Trigger alert, it's deep, it's really deep, it's quite it will bring up some things for you, but like it had the biggest downloads by anything. The amount of messages I got from people, one girl was like, Athena, I actually had to stop driving and pull over because I just had to sit and listen to the episode. They're like, it was so powerful. And so the messages that I receive, and the event that I just did that now holds 80 women, Rebecca, I mean, you came to one of them, you've seen it in person,
It was
these
amazing.
events that I put on.
Yeah. And I loved it again because it didn't feel like a coaching event. I even said to you, I was like, Athena, we could be monetizing this in many ways. And because I can't help it, I'm never going to let you leave money on the table. And you were like, no, I'm okay. Like, I'm good. I'm good with it. I don't want it to be that. And that was what was so refreshing to me as well. And I think the women really appreciated that, and testament to why they keep coming back, and also why they would want to lean in closer and be in part of you, as part of your community.
Yeah, definitely. Do you remember also what you actually said to me was, I need to go to this girl's event because I need to know how she thinks she can charge, what she charges for a ticket, and sell out a room.
Yeah. Oh, did I? Oh God. Yeah. No. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
And the
Because
room was sold out. The room was
I
sold
did.
out. Yeah, and I loved that. I love that. And then because of that, because you were there, and obviously we then did the golden ticket, which Emma won, and then we went off to LA and things. But your energy in the room that day was what made me join your mastermind. Like I'm very much about energy, and I get drawn to certain people. And you really like, your tiny, tiny self. 'Cause I can't believe how short you are in real life. Like literally, your
Well, when people
energy.
say that to me, I assume me to be really tall, and I'm like, is it because I've got big D energy? Because I'm only 5'8".
Yes. So for such a tiny person, a cute tiny person, you have the biggest energy of anybody that I know. And it just like exceeds you. And I knew in that moment when I did the retreat that I was like, Rebecca's gonna know how to take me to the next level. She's gonna be able to talk to me in a way that other people can't talk to me. And I loved it, and I loved being a
I
part
love
of it.
that you're very good. Like what I love with you is that like you can receive. So I'm a very direct person. I've got ADHD, so I can't, do all the political talk and all the, I am a coach and a mentor and all the things, but I'm very direct. And if I believe if it comes from a place of love, then that's okay. It's, but not everybody is open to receiving that. As I know, we have some mutual connections who was not open to receiving any feedback or whatsoever, and that really bit me on the ass. um, but again, wanting to come from a place of service and love, but not every woman is able to receive, so I commend you for that also, that we can
Thank
have that
you.
open dialogue that actually then creates something truly incredible in collaboration, because you can have that honest dialogue.
Well, and also it's important to receive because then you have a right to do with what you want with it, with the information that's given. But when it's given from a person that you put your trust in, I think it's important. And one of the things that's now going to be happening for Girls in Property moving forward is I've always said to the girls, I built the community and I built Girls in Property for the girls. So my biggest thing is understanding from them what they want. I'm constantly saying to them, what is it that you want from this community? What is it that you're looking for? So one of the things I've just introduced that was a huge success, way better than I thought it was going to be, was I've just introduced in-person workshops for Girls in Property. And actually, the first workshop that I did, I maxed it out at 20 because I wanted to make them really intimate. But the girls were saying, Athena, we want more in-person events. We want more in-person interactions. And I said, right, what if I did a workshop for 20 of you? They said, yeah, amazing. And I said, do you want to do property or do you want to do something business related? What do you want to do? And they're like, we'd actually really love to learn more about social media, personal branding, putting ourselves out there. And I thought, well, who is the best person to get to speak to these girls who has the best energy that I know and who is badass at social media and algorithm? So, of course, I met Sarah in the mastermind with you, Sarah Smile Scott, who is the most incredible wizard when it comes to social media algorithm. And so she came and we collaborated and did a day for the girls. And it was a huge, huge success. And we did that in June. It was amazing. And my next one is in September.
And the content looked incredible. Like literally, I was so excited. I was like, this is like the ultimate collaboration. And like two of my favorite people, because I'm obsessed with Sarah as well. And here's the thing why though, I think it is the values piece. For me, one thing when I came into coaching and mentoring in the business space, it was about sustainability in the long haul. I've been in business for over 10 years now. So I didn't want to just teach people hacks to make quick money, get in, get out, and burn through your audience. That has never been my motivation or interest, to be honest, because I could just go buy another brick and mortar business. What has kept me in the game is the prospect of changing women's mindset that this is more than like faceless marketing and master resale rights and lowballing your potential. This is about you building something sustainable now and in the future, so that you ultimately never have to put up with anything that you don't want to put up with for the rest of your life. And what I love with you and Sarah is that Sarah is the same in terms of when she approaches social media. This is about personal brand building. This is about longevity on socials of content and repurposing. And the same with you. This is about building relationships now that are going to serve you in the next 7 years, 10 years, 15 years. And that is rare in the coaching space and business space, I have to say. Everybody is looking for quick cash, the least
Yeah.
amount of work as possible, the less interaction with their customers as possible. It's so nice to find that little tribe of women that are doing the same thing.
But I did start that way, Bex. Like I really did start that way. I started off thinking to myself, okay, I've invested into this business, Girls and Property. I need to see my returns quickly. I need to pull that money back. How can I do as little work as possible? How can I do this? Because I thought that was the way you needed to be. That was what my mindset was all about. And I think that as you grow, you learn. And I tell you, the biggest thing I've learned sitting here today is it is a long game. Like for me, it is like the one, if someone was to say to me, what do you think differentiates your community? Because there are so many communities out there to any other community. The one word I would use is loyalty. It's the one word I'd use. Like those girls are loyal to each other and to themselves and to me. And that is all I need to know. I know that if, you know what the saying of you want to know you want to know that people are saying good things about you when you're not in the room. Yeah. I know that I could put those girls in any other room and they would always have my back. And I think that you can have a monetary community, but not actually know the girls and their stories within that community. And therefore, to me, that isn't what community stands for. All you've got is a monetized platform. Completely different.
100%, 100%. And I've, been in those, built those, spent lots of money being in those, and you feel the difference. Absolutely. And that's, I always say the revenue's in the reviews. So if you are actually looking to build a business that has legs and sustainability about it, then you need to invest in the people that are investing in you. So I absolutely agree. So just to kind of like wrap it up, what is next for you because you've achieved so much to me in what feels like a small time frame, but what would feel like your next level of growth? What is the next
Yeah.
evolution of Girls and Property?
So I'm really excited. Like I'm so excited for the future, and there's constantly ideas going on in my head. If I was to really think about it, I put a date on something and I put a goal, which was that I have been recording online for Girls and Property since January 2023, and with guests, etc. I would really, really love nothing more than to build a Girls and Property studio for myself, like to literally get a space, rent it. And one of my staging girls who does design has said to me, Athena, I want to design the studio for you. And she's like, I love Girls and Property. I know you well enough to know what I think we could do with the studio. So my aim for my birthday, which is in September, is I would love to be in my new Girls and Property studio and creating good value content that goes out across dare I say, TikTok and YouTube. And I really want to lean into giving value and getting people to find me through that. So from a Girls and Property side, it's more events, more workshops, getting the name out there and getting anyone who is interested in business and property into it. Because as we said off the phone, it's not just about property. And I want to make this really clear for anyone listening going, I love Athena, I want to join a community, but I don't do property. Doesn't matter. It's about property and business. And I always talk about the fact that when we do our calls, which are twice a month, I do some calls which are called Girls and Prosperity. It's about who are you? Who do you want to be? What is it that's holding you back at the moment? How can we take you to the next level? And then from a property side of things, I'd love to do more flips. Me and my mum are talking at the moment about doing a flip together down in the south. And I'd also love to get into land development as well and learn more about land. So January 26th is my plan for that one.
Amazing. And weddings?
Oh my God, no, don't ask that.
Because as a luxury travel consultant, is it going to be a destination wedding when the time comes?
Do you know what? We've spoken about it. We have spoken about it. Yeah, I can't. literally all the girls are like, can we come to your wedding? I'm like, well, first of all, there needs to be a proposal, number one. But no, do you know what? We keep looking at the price of UK weddings. It is so expensive.
Yeah.
So we were both travel consultants. That's how we met. I reckon if we were still in the travel world, me and him would have got married on a safari, if I'm honest with you. Um, but I'm
I'm
thinking,
stoked for Hawaii. That's my
oh,
destination
oh my
wedding.
God, that'd be amazing. I reckon we'd probably end up in Greece or Spain or Portugal, something like that. But it probably will be an abroad wedding, I reckon, in the sunshine.
Oh, Greek, my big fat Greek wedding.
Literally.
We need a hashtag. If that happens, we need a hashtag. Or when that happens, sorry, that is going to happen. That would be amazing.
I love it.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. I always know when we get going, like it is just always a really powerful and uplifting and insightful and thoughtful conversation. So thank you so much for allowing us to have that on the podcast here. I would love to encourage all of the women that are listening to come and find you because, like I say, I just love everything that you're about. I'm so grateful that our paths met, crossed, and we are essentially building businesses, communities, legacies together because now we are forever intertwined. So yeah, just thank you so much for the work that you're doing, and I look forward to our next collaboration at some point. So thank you so much, Athena.
Thank you so much for having me back. So I absolutely loved it. And if you want to reach out to me, just on Instagram, just do Athena Dobson _official or Girls in Property. I literally live in my DM, so reach out to me there. But thank you for having me.